Study finds surprising number of Americans think chocolate milk comes from brown cows. The study found 48% of respondents weren't sure where chocolate milk came from. 7% thought chocolate milk only comes from brown cows. That adds up to about 16.4 million people, more than the population of Ohio. Welcome back to the latest episode of Laugh While the World Burns. Because as society melts down all around us, we still need to find something to laugh about. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button, click the bell, and select all notifications so you don't miss any future episodes. Toronto police. Just let thieves steal your car. As reported by BlogTO, Toronto Police Service Constable said, to prevent the possibility of being attacked in your home, leave your key fobs at the front door, because they're breaking into your home to steal your car. They don't want anything else. Yes, they want all the law-abiding citizens to be helpless victims. Only the criminals have rights these days. Millions go missing from money storage facility in LA area on Easter. The Los Angeles Police Department and the FBI are investigating a multi-million-dollar theft on Easter Sunday, sources told ABC News. The money went missing Sunday from a money storage facility in Sylmar in Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley, law enforcement sources said. The company that owns the building noticed the money had been stolen on Monday morning. The thieves managed to break into the facility undetected, sources said. There are no suspects at this point. So from looking at this picture, they basically cut a hole in the wall. And apparently, there's no cameras, alarm system, or guards even. They just having it stored in a warehouse somewhere? I don't know. Only in these times. The feds are coming for extremist gamers. The Department of Homeland Security and FBI are in dialogue with Roblox, Discord, Reddit, and others. And sadly, yes, this is a real article. Instead of going after real criminals, they're going after gamers. If you say the wrong thing, or probably commit an act of violence in a video game, they'll show up at your house and arrest you. I guess next they'll be banning digital lead dispensers too. New Democratic Party bill would prescribe jail terms for speaking well of fossil fuels. An NDP bill is seeking to criminalize the promotion of fossil fuels and prescribe jail time even for Canadians who say scientifically true things, such as how burning natural gas is cleaner than burning coal. Educational malpractice. Seattle English students allegedly taught a love for reading and writing is white supremacy. Homeless California man stole private plane. Took it on a joyride to prove point on lax airport security. Well, I guess that was one way to get his point across. They should hire him and put him in charge of head of security. A student persuaded by his friend to get his legs amputated for a $1.3 million insurance scam wound up only getting $7,200 that he now has to return. A student in Taiwan had his legs amputated to claim $1.3 million in insurance payouts. The Criminal Investigation Bureau said the man soaked his feet for 10 hours in dry ice to get frostbite. But the plan backfired when medical staff thought his injury seemed suspicious. I don't have any words to even add to this. If only nature could find a way to cover these oranges so we didn't need to waste so much plastic on them. But remember, you're a bad person if you want to use plastic shopping bags. 10% of all vegetarian hot dogs contain meat. No one is feeding us. We buy food which is for sale in shops. I've never been fed by any farmer. They sell the food and we buy. So let us all debunk the myth once and for all. Farmers are in the business for profit, not to feed anyone. Dumb and dumber by the day. At least, there were some readers that added context. The food that the stores sell comes from the farmers. Sadly, I've seen more and more comments, posts, and even people stating these things on video, most of which were from younger college-educated idiots. They've been trying to turn the people against all the farmers, and this has been going on for a while now. Just like when you see all these so-called climate activists slashing tires on transport trucks and dumping milk. People's just plain stupid, and that's just a fact. They're literally demanding the government stop them from having anything to eat. Carbon footprint of homegrown food 5 times greater than those grown conventionally. This is the stupidity of this generation. Just more examples of showing how this generation is getting dumber and dumber by the day. 95% of electric cars are still on the road. The other 5% made it all the way home. Men, what's preventing you from dressing like this? I understand dryer settings. New Irish government wants to pass a law that could see people jailed for possession of memes, cartoons, or any content that could be deemed hateful by bureaucrats. The bill includes no definition of hate and is wide open to abuse by corrupt politicians. I'd say most everybody by now knows about this cartoon, or what do they call it? Anime, which basically means a Japanese cartoon. But I had to throw this one in here. Fun fact, whatever new Dragon Ball content is released, cartel activity drops significantly for about 2 days. That's just hilarious in my book, because it means that this younger generation, this cartoon is more important to them than any job that they're working. Even the criminals. How poor people spend the little money they have is always the topic of discussion. Let's talk about how rich people spend the money poor people create. 100%. Why are government official accounts releasing information in meme formats now? Because they know people trust memes more than they do the government and the media now. And that's just a fact. And a good reason for it, too. We are enjoying a remarkable recovery. My grocery bill has determined that was a lie. The ultimate put down for 2023. Oh yeah? Your dad buys Bud Light at Target. Late millennials and younger generations learn about Chad Generation X. How can they eat gluten? Why aren't they offended by everything? Why is their music so good? How can they distinguish between a man and a woman? Because Gen X and the early millennials was the last generation with any common sense and critical thinking ability. A tree fell on my fence, making the best of it while I negotiate the repair. That is perfect. And what makes it better is dog is in quotation marks. Have you guys seen this? Meet the New York Police Department dance team. I mean, really? Maybe it is time we defund some of the police. A British man who needed to fix a typo on a plane ticket found it was cheaper to change his name and get a new passport than to pay the airline's name change fee. So that's what he did. Worse and worse all the time. What's considered trashy if you're poor, but classy if you're rich? Getting money from the government. That's at least true if you're an actual citizen. I tried to convince my son that a buffalo chicken is a real animal. He demanded I Google it. I knew Google Images had my back. You know, this is funny. You want to see what's not? Man sues Buffalo Wild Wings after realizing boneless wings aren't actually wings. A Chicago man is suing Buffalo Wild Wings for false advertising and deceptive business practices, alleging he was duped into buying boneless wings that aren't just boneless, but wingless as well. The stupidity of this nation never ceases to go lower. If your parents made $80,000 when you were born in 1990, you'd have to make $246,382 in 2024 just to have the same life. This is true, and that's just a sad fact. And if you want to go many times more so, just drop back to the 1970s and 1980s. Once you understand that the solutions aren't created to solve the problems, but the problems are created to implement the solutions, then you will understand just how evil the people creating all these problems really are. It's called problem, reaction, solution. You watched The Hunger Games and sided with the resistance. You watched Divergent and sided with the resistance. When it's fiction, you understand. Yet you refuse to see it when it's the reality you're living in. Very sadly, this is true for a large portion of this generation. But by the vast majority of the comments that you guys leave here on the channel, you guys are awake and already know these things, which is why you're watching this video right now. Science proves kids are bad for the earth. Morality suggests we stop having them. We need to stop pretending kids don't have environmental and ethical consequences. Just more stupidity of this generation. 150 Democrats vote against a bill to deport illegals caught driving while drunk. When you go into the peaceful liberals part of town. Notice to riders. Failure to be at the bus stop at the scheduled time will result in missing the bus. This is the fake capitalism that we're currently living in today. This is a capitalist country in name only. Bureaucrats unable to define woman. Go find a Gen Xer. They'll be able to explain it to you. To all of you offended, you wouldn't have made it through an episode of me without having a meltdown. How the left thinks they look. How they actually look. This isn't even an exaggeration. How to sell your body parts legally. 9 ways to make money and help others too. This is how the media is telling people how to make more money to be able to pay their bills. Just sell your body parts. You got some extras, don't you? I don't need you anymore. I'm woke now. Google update reveals AI will start reading all of your private messages. Google has just unveiled a game-changing AI upgrade for Android, but it has a darker side. Google's AI will start to read and analyze your private messages going back forever. I mentioned on a previous episode about how some of the high-ups point blank stated how they were going to use AI to monitor everyone's messages on social media and your text messages on your phone to make sure it wasn't misinformation. And they also stated that if you texted someone a private message on your phone and it wasn't in line with the narrative, that it would be quote-unquote corrected. I'm certainly not going to read that. Did bro not think that boiling water would be hot? Tourist dips fingers in Yellowstone hot spring with predictable results. I have plant-based meats down here. Yes, that is exactly what should happen to all of these facilities. We no longer go for looks. We go for maturity, stability, loyalty, and peace. If only you had this mindset before you became a single mom. This goes both ways. when you're trying to have fun, but you remember that you're a slave living on a tax plantation. It's absolutely true. Some people are finally waking up to this fact. We started this video with a news article about people who thought chocolate milk come from brown cows. If they believe that, they probably also believe this. J. Edgar Hoover, powerful head of the FBI for nearly 50 years, out on the town in drag with his second in command, Clyde Tolson, 1940. The only thing that's changed with the rulers of this country is that today, they don't even bother to try to hide it. Milford Regional Medical Center warns it may deny care to those using unwelcome words about race or gender. I also showed a similar news article back in one of the past episodes of this series, where a hospital said very similar things about people being brought into the ER. Not only are you going to see a lot more of this, but you'll see them expand this to cover many other conservative views. Mississippi cop is arrested for shoplifting in uniform after being caught stealing a $140 pair of shoes from Dick's Sporting Goods. Robin Connor, 33, was in uniform and driving her police cruiser when she was caught stealing. Can someone update me on what's offensive today? It's hard to keep up. Everything is offensive. How can you talk if you haven't got a brain? Some people without brains do an awful lot of talking. The latest buzzword just dropped from the Devil's Den in Davos. Farming, fishing, and making money is now called ecocide. So basically, if you want to live, you're committing a crime if these people get their way. What do you mean, if they get their way? All these elites' agenda has been going full speed ahead for decades and decades. There is no climate crisis, and increasing CO2 concentrations will benefit the world. Dr. John F. Clauser, joint recipient of the 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics. He might be a Nobel Prize winner, but used to, you would learn in 3rd or 4th grade that plants need CO2, and the more CO2 they have, the better they grow and the more oxygen they produce. A helicopter running on fossil fuel spraying a chemical made from fossil fuels onto a wind turbine made with fossil fuels during an ice storm is awesome. And they literally burned through hundreds of gallons of fuel trying to de-ice one of these wind turbines. I have no words. Does it really surprise you guys? It doesn't me. At all. January 30th, 2024. Electric buses are coming to a school near you. February 20th, 2024. Maine school districts pulling electric buses off roads due to safety issues. This is about as bad as those new electric city buses. It was going up a small hill, and apparently something overheated, and the whole system shut down and lost power. After it lost power, it don't have any brakes. And since they were on a small hill, it starts rolling backwards and crashes into a bunch of cars. It sent at least one person to the hospital that was in one of the vehicles it hit. Wanna stop the riots? Mobilize the septic tank trucks. Put a pressure cannon on them and hose them down. The end. Yes, I agree with this. There's actually some farmers that has done exactly this when it interfered with them being able to actually run their farm. Or in some instances, where the so-called protesters were trespassing on the farmer's property. This is Staff Sergeant McGuire with the U.S. Army Recruiting. I'd like to discuss the many opportunities the U.S. Army has for you. You can text or call this number with any questions you have. I look forward to hearing from you. I hate this country. If you join the U.S. Army, you will get to leave this country often. That does pretty much sum it up, on both sides for that matter. The European Union flag stands for Disastrous Open Borders Policy. Bureaucrats and banksters ruining everything. A great future ahead. Records show that Chrystia Freeland billed thousands for limousines and taxis in Toronto, despite claims she relied on a bicycle and public transport. These politicians would never do such a thing. Keanu Reeves does all the time, but none of these parasites will. Woke authoritarian agenda. Trudeau liberals propose life sentences for online hate speech. They also didn't define what hate speech was in these proposed bills, which means they could construe it to mean anything that they want, anytime that they use it. Yellowstone tourist ignores rules, capturing and placing elk calf in their car. You can't make this stuff up, guys. I could literally start a new series just called The People of Yellowstone. They're almost the same thing as the People of Walmart videos that you see all over YouTube now. This is the #1 recommended baby formula. 42% corn syrup, 15% soy, 11% safflower oil. A baby's diet sets the tone for its entire life. This is absolutely criminal. I agree with this 100%. People have no idea what they're feeding their babies. And to take it a step further, most of the stuff that we're eating from the stores is just as bad. So, in the middle of the Civil War, someone was like, you know what this country needs? A delicious steak sauce. This is true. The Civil War didn't end until 1865. Censored photos of the Sesame Street Muppets have been leaked online. I thought this one was kind of funny. But hey, it got you guys to click on the video. So if you're still watching this far, please consider hitting that like button. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and share the video to help support the channel. You know, the very powerful and the very stupid have one thing in common. They don't alter their views to fit the facts. They alter the facts to fit their views. Doctor Who, 1977. It might have been fiction in 1977, but it's mainstream in 2024. Climate change my ass. Anybody trying to outlaw farming wants to unalive us. And that's an absolute fact. Hey California, how's the housing situation going? California homeless found living in furnished caves 20 feet below street level. Yeah, and believe it or not, from what I heard, they got evicted from their cave too. Gone in 24 seconds. Our car was towed 24 seconds before we paid to park. The attendant told us, that happens. We owed $160. Yeah, and this is called predatory towing. We don't need more cameras pointed at citizens. We need cameras pointed at politicians and unelected bureaucrats. At least 2 transgender... Nope, I'm not even gonna read it. I've seen enough crap today. Oh look, electric car fuel. When someone hugs me, and I know they felt my holster. If you trust the government, you obviously had a bad history teacher. They haven't taught real history in the school system for a long time. I fly all over this planet to fight climate change for you. I'm a paid shill and full of shit. The Pentagon's woke schools for 70,000 kids exposed. Gender expression for 4-year-olds. Parent-free chat rooms. And racial bias listens that leave students sobbing. And how Lloyd Austin covered it up. Protesters. We're heading to the rural area next and stealing from all of them. You do realize that these people argue over which lead dispenser is best to put in their truck. Wanna be green? shut off your air conditioning, turn off your phone, and go plant next year's dinner. And that's a straight up fact. Being an adult is realizing $1,000 is very little money to have, but a lot to owe. When your electric powered car runs out of electricity, you'll call a gas powered tow truck to come take you to the charging station, which gets its electricity from a power plant that most likely is either fueled by gas or coal. Normies. Wow, I thought you were a conspiracy theorist, but it turns out you were right all along. Me. I never wanted to be right. That is true. These apples are not real. Don't try to eat them. I can't believe I have to write this sign. The budget breakdown of a 25-year-old who makes $100,000 a year and is excellent with money. Total monthly spending, $2,775. Man, if you look at how they got this broke down, it's a complete joke. And if the numbers wasn't bad enough, they got a quarter of it going to donations. My boss told me if I wanted a raise, I needed to send him a detailed list of reasons why I think I deserve one. So I just dropped this off on his desk. I'm sure everyone here knows how all the elites are pushing for the slaves to have to eat bugs. Well, if you don't want to eat bugs, now they have a new choice. Scientists propose eating more python. These big reptiles may be a sustainable meat source if farming can be scaled up. I'll leave this up for a few seconds here. You can pause the video if you'd like to read the bottom. As a kid, I used to watch The Wizard of Oz and wonder how someone could talk if they didn't have a brain. Then, I got social media. Californians grabbing a meal after arguing with you about politics. There's something seriously wrong with a society that thinks these people are backwards and don't represent the average person, but thinks these people know what's best for everyone on Earth. That's an absolute truth. Now you know why Trudeau is for MAID. According to a cost analysis report from the Canadian Medical Association, the implementation of assisted unaliving will save the Canadian healthcare system between $34.7 and $136.8 million per year. Yeah, never mind the fact that this is just one more little link in their depopulation agenda, especially concerning the Western nations. Men, if DNA confirms the baby is not yours, it doesn't change the fact that you must take responsibility of the baby. The worst part about this is not a one-off instance of some person just blabbing on social media, but rather, let's just say this thought process is gaining traction and being pushed by more and more people. So much so that I actually saw a news article about a woman who won a court case against a man even when he had a DNA paternity test done that proved the child was not his. Yet, he was ordered by the judge to pay child support. Man-made horrors beyond human comprehension. This is getting worse all the time. If you think this is dumb, I've got one that's even dumber that I'll put in the next episode. In the past week, we have Bradley Gunners saying they knew where to aim because they played video games, and drone aces hunting each other down like the aces of World War I. Man-made horrors beyond comprehension. This is one of the reasons that they created drones, because it disconnects the operator from what they are actually carrying out and doing. I met this Danish guy on the train today, and he said he was visiting the USA because he wanted to see it before it ends. And holy, that was probably the funniest, saddest thing I'll hear all year. Maybe if we tell people the brain is an app, they'll start using it. Cop opened fires on handcuffed suspect after an acorn landed on vehicle. That's no relation to this channel. Kansas City mayor accuses governor of racial dog whistle for calling Super Bowl parade shooters thugs. That's right, people. It's now considered racist to call criminals who are trying to unalive people thugs. The New York Times claims that the administrative state, that is, governance by unelected bureaucrats, protects our country and enhances democracy. I support people's choice to street race because it's a victimless crime. Until they T-bone a family van full of kids, unaliving the entire family, that's street crashing, which I am very against. That's one thing about social media. You basically get to watch people's thought processes in real time. What did you think they were spraying out of those planes? Vitamins? There's plenty of people that would believe that. Dear environmentalist, a climate crisis is when it's -40 outside and -55 with wind chill. Canadian oil and gas is the solution to these climate crises. Modern women at their peak. All men are trash. I don't need one. Modern women after they hit the wall. Where'd all the good men go? I wish I had one. This is sad, but it's true for a lot of women in this generation who have been so fooled into this mainstream narrative. According to the Global Energy Monitor, China has 402 new coal-fired power plants under construction, but in the West, we're being told we aren't allowed to have them. Electric vehicle owners should only be allowed to charge their cars using wind and solar power. Otherwise, it's just pretend. I'm Akorn, and I approve this message. Remember painting these clouds as a kid? Yeah, me neither. Insurance companies, when you finally ask them to do their job after paying them thousands of dollars over the years. Praying in public, reading aloud from Bible, is hate speech to be severely punished. Trudeau government has introduced a bill that could land Christians in prison for quoting the Bible or expressing a traditional faith-based opinion if the Canadian government deems it promotion of hatred or anti-Semitism. And more detail about this, along with related, why are so many countries trying to make undefined hate speech a criminal charge? Ireland, hate speech law, proposed 5 years in prison for a meme. France, 3 years in prison. 45,000 euro fine to speak in opposition against any state-endorsed. Canada proposed life sentence in prison, $70,000 fine for hate speech. You are being silenced. And be sure, this is coming to the US, guys. At some point, all videos like this will have to be deleted, if they're not deleted for us. A hitman hires a hitman who hires a hitman who hires a hitman who hires a hitman who tells police. 5 hitmen have been jailed for attempted unaliving after each one avoided carrying out the contract themselves so they could make a profit. The final hitman was insulted at the money he had been offered. So, he went and told the police. Has everyone paid your extortion fees? I mean legalized theft? I mean government taxes. Yeah, that's the right one. And remember, just because you're a criminal doesn't mean that you don't have to pay taxes. Here's your notice from the IRS. Income from illegal activities, such as money from dealing illicit substances, must be included in your income on Schedule 1, Form 1040, Line 8Z, or on Schedule C, if from your self-employment activity. Stolen property. If you steal property, you must report its fair market value in your income in the year you steal it, unless you return it to its rightful owner in the same year. That's right, guys. Even if you stole it, the government's still going to get their cut from your theft. And yes, this is a real IRS notice. And what makes it even better is that this was being reposted by the Woodruff Police Department. It doesn't matter how you make your money, the IRS wants their cut. If you're dealing illicit substances, or you can't figure out how to claim funds from stolen goods on your taxes, stop by. One of our friendly officers will be happy to assist you. For extra cash, consider robbing offenders. Their address is easy to find, and they can't own lead dispensers. That's not true. Politicians have loads of security. You know, we laugh at that because we know it's true. Like the name of this series, Laugh While the World Burns. An electric charger powered by diesel generator. We are the stupidest species on the planet. You know, I've seen a lot of memes about electric cars running out of juice and having to be charged by generators, or they're on the back of a diesel truck being towed back to a station. But this here beats them. This is a, at the very least, semi-permanent charger station that was literally designed to be run only by a diesel generator. And I guarantee you that diesel generator will burn more fuel for the amount of power that it's charging the car with than what the car would get in miles per gallon if it was a regular liquid-fueled vehicle. But at the end of the day, this is no different than any of the other chargers because they're just connected to the power grid, which gets its power from the electric plants that most likely burn either natural gas or coal. Wall Street talking about inflation, U.S. workers. And most everyone here knows this is 100% true. Memes do a better job at reporting current events than the mainstream media. This is absolutely true. Here's this post from Irina Pariah, who is a Blizzard game developer. Just wait until they notice that none of our starting characters in our alpha build are white males. None out of 6. This is from The Quartering. Former Blizzard developer bragging her new game features no white male characters. Hey, that's totally fine, but since representation matters, I am told, I guess I just don't see myself in this game, so I won't be buying it. How media describes the event. What actually happened. It's true. We've all seen this time and again. And yet again, another electric vehicle meme. New Jersey candidate for U.S. Senate nailed with hilarious mockery after blaming earthquake on climate change. I'm about to testify against Boeing. I'm a little nervous. I'm sure everything will be fine. That looks about right. Did you guys hear about that guy that was going to testify And then all of a sudden, he just happened to end up unalived. Awful convenient for Boeing. A software engineer wore Apple Vision Pro to his wedding, much to his new bride's chagrin. I don't know what that word is, guys. Irregardless, this guy's an idiot. Just another example of the stupidity of this generation. As soon as he put those on, she should have turned around and left him standing there. I guess he could have inserted a virtual character to replace her, though. Woman stuck with $3,100 dinner bill after her blind date refused to pay for the 23 family members she brought along. Just to be clear, this guy met this woman for a blind date at a restaurant, and instead of just being her, she brought 23 more family members with her, but expected him to pay the bill. Man, that's the worst trap that Roadrunner's ever set for Wiley. Did you just spend $100,000 to get a $40,000 job? This train ad really triggered me. Here's a map of all the countries that tax their own citizens into poverty in order to send the money to foreign countries. Yeah, it's exactly true. Now you need to go see the map that shows all the countries that the U.S. sends money to. The U.S. sends money to 150 different countries across the earth. Guys, there's only 193 countries total. But yet, it's the citizens' fault for the national debt. Trudeau lasted 11 minutes and 10 seconds into question period today. He fled after the issue of his personal invitation to the was brought up. When the going gets tough, Trudeau gets going. It's so hot in Texas, we've installed fans outside. This would almost make more sense than claiming they built them to generate power. There's landfills filled with these things now, just like solar panels. When you try to order a black coffee, but the blue-haired barista starts explaining that the preferred term is milkless. I could absolutely see someone saying this. I don't think people should be treated differently based on their skin color. Yep. Remember, guys, if you're white and you think this, you're racist. Members of Congress on their way to the Capitol. Yep, fact check true. Blue hair. Fathers. Teenage girls. This was a joke in 2005, but an important clarification in 2024. Fine, then I guess we're boyfriend and girlfriend. One condition. What? I get to be the boyfriend. Share the memes, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Getting sucked into Jumanji for 30 years doesn't sound too bad right now. Free housing. Vibrant gay culture. Diversity through the roof. Pay taxes on your income. Pay taxes when you buy your things. Pay taxes when you use your things. Pay taxes when you sell your things. That's a very simplified version, but it is true. Classic Disney princesses were modeled after real women. You're just fat. U.S. national debt. Debt per citizen. And you think they don't mean this? The Why Our Enemies No Longer Fear Us starter pack. Just sick. We can't reveal the names of the Kansas City parade shooters because they're under 18. Oh, really? Good to know. Phone stops working. Me. This is it. It's happening. There's gonna come a day. Nickelodeon. We had no idea Dan Schneider had a foot fetish. The Nickelodeon logo in the 90s. Today's news. Canceling TikTok cause China owns it, but allowing China to buy our farmland, homes, and our commercial real estate makes sense. Especially next to all the military bases. Like that's a coincidence. It's a hybrid. It burns gas and oil. Makes over $400,000 a year teaching one class at Harvard. Complains about the high cost of college and student debt. I just saved a bunch of money on my taxes by switching my citizenship status to illegal immigrant. Big tech. We're doing our best to stop the spread of disinformation. Also big tech. A narcissist wants the authority of a king while having the accountability of a toddler. Like the sign says, it's all theirs. Want to stop drunk drivers from unaliving sober drivers? Ban sober drivers from driving. That's how lead dispenser control works. Truth. We must take away your plastic straws wrapped in paper and force you to use paper straws wrapped in plastic. One idiot is one idiot. 2 idiots are 2 idiots. 10,000 idiots are a political party. When you almost posted that meme, but remembered your guardian agent is watching. This is absolutely true. Or at the very least, your fact checkers. Believe it or not, there are memes that I don't post because I need this YouTube channel. Click on one of the videos above to help support the channel. Please hit that like button and subscribe. I thank you all for watching. This is Akorn, over and out.